So I trust this finds you well. In this lesson, I'm going to show you the very basic Git operations that you need as a beginner to start working with Git. I'm going to show you commands like git clone, git add, git commit, git push, and git pull. Before you work with Git and GitHub, you are required to have a GitHub account. Remember that Git is the version control tool that controls the version of your software projects, while GitHub is the online platform that you use to collaborate. You have the functionalities of Git in a distributed manner. It enables that. So I already have my GitHub account, and as you can see, it's on my, you can see this is the dashboard of my GitHub. So I am also going to verify that Git is installed on my computer. To do that, I'm going to use the command git -- version. If Git is installed on the computer, this should return the version of Git installed on the computer. And yes, it returns version 2.42.0 as the version of Git installed on my computer. I also need to configure my information on Git on the local computer. To verify that there is no other information, I'll use git config -- global -- list. So this means there is no other user configuration on the computer. So I'm going to add my name and my email address to Git on my local computer. To do that, I'll use git config -- global user.email followed by my email address. That is the email address that I use for my GitHub. So I have added my email. I will now add my name. Git config -- global user.name. I'll write my name in bracket in quotation mark. So I have added my email and I have added my name. To verify that it has worked, I'm going to execute the git config global list. You can see that my email as well as my name is added to Git on this my local computer. So back to my GitHub account, I'm going to create a repository which I will later clone to my local computer and perform some Git operations on it. So since I'm using a minimized screen, I will not see where I will just click a button and create a repository. Therefore, I'll just click on my profile picture and click on your repositories. This will display the list of repositories that I have. You can see them. So I want to add a new one. I'll just click on new. Let me name it Git Basics. Then I will add some description to it. I'm going to make it public so that anyone that has access to GitHub can access the repository. If I choose private, however, only me and the people that I choose to work on it can have access to it. So I'm going to choose public. There is the option to add a README file to the repository. A README file is simply a file that gives the description of certain areas of a project. Usually your project will be organized in folders. How README file is used is, in every folder you add a README file, you describe what the components of that folder do. So I'm going to choose to add a README file. There is also what we call a gitignore. A gitignore file is a file that you add files that you do not want to track. The files that you do not want Git to track, you keep them inside a gitignore file. So I don't need that for now. Then I'm going to choose a license. I'm going to choose we have Apache license, GNU, MIT, and all of this. Most of them are free and open source. Like MIT license permits anyone that have access to the repository to view, modify, and distribute the code. So I'll now click on Create Repository. So my repository has been created. You can see that the README file has the title, Git basics, and you can see where it says initial commit here. This initial commit is the commit message for creating these files. When you create files on your project and you are working with Git, you commit them to verify that you want those changes to be deployed in the project. So what happened is that when the project was created, it was created with these files. So it was the initial commit, the initial change that was made on the project. Let me go ahead and display this README file and make some changes to it. Let me view it as a code where line numbers can be visible. I can edit it. Let me say Git is an awesome version control tool. I will commit these changes. You should note that all this that I'm doing is on the GitHub website. So I will commit changes. This is my commit message. Because I am using the graphical user interface of GitHub, I can choose to define an extended description for the commit, but for now this is okay. So I'll just click on commit changes.